Ever wonder why the honest, hard-working folks get stuck in the mud, while the ruthless rule breakers rocket to the top? In this video, we're gonna tear down the curtain and spill the ugly truth behind their unfair rise, all in plain spoken, no BS language. Stick with us till the very end to see what game is really being played. Ever since way back, we've seen that some of the most successful people don't really care about ethics or playing fair. Instead of getting ahead by honesty and hard work, they build their path through ruthless moves and a total willingness to break the rules. Take Julius Caesar, for example. He wasn't just a legendary general on the battlefield, but also a master at calculated betrayals and sneaky political tricks. For Caesar, morals were like dead weight. He drew up plans to remove anyone standing in his way, one by one, using false promises or straight-up backstabbing, all to secure his power. And it wasn't just him. History is full of emperors who kept their thrones by any means necessary. They beheaded rivals without blinking, crushed uprisings with brutal force, and used harsh policies to silence dissent. They didn't care about the ordinary people caught in the crossfire. Their goal was total control, not fairness, and certainly not compassion. The real truth is, success and kindness often don't mix. Those who dare to break the rules and push others aside usually win. The system from day one seems rigged to reward the bold and heartless. Believing that justice and integrity alone will get you ahead is just wishful thinking. In reality, the system is built to leave out the gentle-hearted and favor the power-hungry. So why is it like this? Because the people writing the rules are the ones elbow deep in power, not the ones worrying about being nice. The setup is designed to let the ruthless sprint ahead and keep everyone else trailing behind. If you really want to rise to the top, you have to learn the game, know when to make your move, and be ready to take down anyone who stands in your way. Period. Seriously. Have you ever noticed that society's power structures feel rigged in favor of rule benders? It's like the whole system hands a golden ticket to people who know how to fiddle with its gears without blinking. Meanwhile, the folks who stick to being fair and honest end up running against a brick wall. This isn't just bad luck, it's by design. Let's get real. In many arenas, it's not about playing by the rules, it's about control and strategy. The people who win are the ones who master influence, manipulation, and timing. They know that honesty and integrity look nice on a resume, but they don't buy you the top job or the best-selling deal. If you can push the right buttons, spin the right story, or cozy up to the folks in charge, you've got an edge. This setup raises a question. What does success really mean? Is it proof of your talent and effort, or simply proof that you knew how to game the system? When the prize goes to the toughest negotiator instead of the hardest worker, it blurs effort and opportunism. Playing it safe and by the book feels like the riskiest move of all. And it's not only about looking tough at the top. The system also silently pushes aside anyone who dares ask, "Hey, is this fair?" You might write the best code, design the coolest product, or teach the most inspiring class, but if you don't hustle for attention, network like a social butterfly, or play politics, you'll be overlooked. Meanwhile, someone who's willing to twist a few truths or cut a few corners can snag the promotions and headlines. Think about it like a game of chess. The honest player follows the basic moves, hoping strategy and respectability will win the day. The savvy player, they study every rule, know every loophole, and sometimes sacrifice a pawn or two for a better position. It's that willingness to make hard, cold choices that separates the casuals from the contenders. And once you see the board this way, you realize that relying on fair play alone leaves you vulnerable. So, what can we do to succeed without losing ourselves? First, learn how the system really ticks. Watch the movers and shakers and see how they handle challenges. You don't have to become a villain, just know when to stand firm and when to bend so you don't break. Second, build your network like your success depends on it, because it does. Connections open doors and offer backup when you're under fire. Third, sharpen your decision-making. Practice choosing quickly and owning the outcome. Fourth, be strategic. Protect your time, cut distractions, and dive into tough calls when needed. In the end, success doesn't hand out gold medals for being nice, it rewards results. True results come from knowing the game, playing smart, and sometimes making the tough calls others avoid. That doesn't mean selling your soul, it means using every tool, even a little ruthlessness, to build the life you want. Everyone says that in our world. If you put in the hard work and act with integrity, you'll be rewarded. It's the story we grew up hearing from parents, teachers, and pretty much every motivational poster. Work hard plus be honest equals success. That idea feels good and keeps us motivated. But here's the catch: reality doesn't always follow that neat equation. Too often, we end up watching people who cut corners and ignore moral rules zoom ahead, while those who stick to fairness struggle to get noticed. Why does this happen? Let's break it down in plain talk. In politics and boardrooms alike, the do the right thing crowd often finds itself sidelined. Take politicians. The honest ones stick to principles, but get outmaneuvered by backdoor dealmakers who cozy up to lobbyists and spin the media. Or think of CEOs who worry more about their employees than profit margins. They get replaced by the ones who slash budgets, cut staff, and drive stock prices up. The hard truth is that power structures reward the people who know how to bend rules, exploit loopholes, and network relentlessly, not necessarily the ones with the cleanest track record. Asterisk on top of that, there's this whole fairness story we're sold to keep us in line. It goes, anyone can win if they work hard and play by the rules. That message is like a lullaby. It calms us down so we don't riot when the top dogs keep scooping up the spoils. But in reality, hidden biases and uneven starting points stack the deck. Unless you know how to lobby, socialize, or hustle for your own spotlight, you're stuck chanting the fairness mantra while the game stays rigged. Let's get real. Success these days is more about control and strategy than being a saint. If you want to rise, you've got to learn the system's playbook. That means understanding when to push your agenda, how to influence key players, and finding the loopholes to exploit. It doesn't necessarily mean lying non-stop, but it does mean being ready to make tough calls like dropping a bad project, skipping polite niceties, or cutting ties with people who slow you down. You also need to watch how power moves in your field, who mentors whom, whose ideas get airtime, and who holds the real influence. Then you position yourself where it counts. In the end, seriously, you don't have to ditch your values or become a shark. Think of ethics as one more tool in your belt. Use it when it helps build trust, but don't let blind loyalty hold you back. Be ambitious, hone your decision making, and just network with purpose. Keep your eyes open for unfair advantages others exploit. And remember, if you aren't at the table making decisions, you're part of the menu. So learn the rules, master your craft, and be ready to play smarter, because the world rewards those who know how to win it, not those who hope for goodies. You know that old story, work hard, stay honest, and you'll make it big. Turns out, it's more comforting myth than reality. In real life, chasing power often means stepping outside the do the right thing box, and the whole fairness tale is mostly there to keep us in line. Once you start peeling back the layers, you see the system rewards those who learn its secret moves, not the ones who stick strictly to good behavior. First off, let's face it, power games don't pause for morality. People who sprint ahead often do it by bending or ignoring ethical lines, whatever it takes. Meanwhile, those who insist on playing square can end up stuck on the sidelines. It sucks, but that's how the gears turn. So if you're serious about success, you need to know the rules, asterisk and asterisk, when it's time to tweak them. Enter Friedrich Nietzsche, the guy who basically said, look, humans are wired to go after influence and greatness, not just comfort or goodness. He called this drive the will to power. It isn't about being a bully. It's about pushing yourself to grow, to overcome limits, and to carve out your own path, not just follow someone else's. Once you see that, you realize morality isn't a fixed universal law. It's more like a tool set that different people use to serve their own goals. Nietzsche broke morality into two camps. There's master morality, which is all about the strong. These folks set their own standards. They value creativity, ambition, and excellence, and they celebrate their achievements. They don't wait for permission. They make their own rules. Then there's slave morality, coined by people who felt powerless. They praise humility, meekness, and obedience. and often paint the master-type traits like confidence or ambition as bad or selfish. It's basically a way for the weak to push down anyone who's climbing higher. When you really get Nietzsche's angle, you see that the strong, and by strong he means anyone ready to do what it takes to reach their goals, craft their own moral codes. They drop the parts that hold them back and embrace the values that propel them forward. Slave morality, by contrast, insists on shackles, telling everyone that ambition and assertiveness are wrong. That tension between making your own rules and sticking to someone else's is at the heart of Nietzsche's big insight. So what's the takeaway? If you want real success, you can't just hope that kindness and honesty will carry you all the way. You've got to understand the mechanics of power, how influence works, when to cooperate, when to push, and yes, when to get a bit ruthless. That doesn't mean becoming a villain. It means seeing morality as a choice. You pick and choose the parts that help you grow and let go of the parts that box you in. In the end, success calls for a balance. Use moral values to build trust and loyalty, but don't let them blind you when tough calls are needed. Learn from Nietzsche, embrace your inner master, define your own standards, and break free from the idea that goodness alone guarantees a win. That way you can play the game on your terms, and that's how real power gets seized. Nietzsche really flips the script on how we think about right and wrong. Instead of seeing morality as one big, unbreakable rule book, he asks us to consider two very different mindsets, the strong and the weak. The strong folks, in his view, aren't defined by pure muscle or money. They're people who trust their instincts, chase their own goals, and build their own moral code based on ambition, creativity, and excellence. Meanwhile, weak folks set up a different rule book, one that praises humility, meekness, and obedience because they feel powerless and afraid of standing out. Nietzsche calls these two systems master morality and slave morality, and he challenges us to rethink whether following the crowd or carving our own path leads to real fulfillment. When you break it down, master morality is basically about freedom and self-definition. Imagine someone who decides what's good by asking, "Does this help me grow and achieve?" They celebrate victories, cherish their strengths, and aren't ashamed to admit they want more out of life. On the flip side, slave morality says, "What keeps me safe? What keeps me from drawing attention?" It labels ambition as selfish, pride as arrogance, and power as corrupt, so the masses stick to playing small. Nietzsche's point isn't to demonize kindness. It's to show how these two approaches shape our beliefs and behaviors from the ground up. Now, let's tie this back to real-world success. Nietzsche introduces the idea of the will to power, which simply means we all have an inner drive to push limits, learn new things, and make our mark. It's not necessarily about crushing others underfoot. It's more about self-overcoming, breaking through personal barriers, so you become the best version of yourself. When you view success through this lens, power isn't a dirty word. It's a tool you use to unlock your potential. Successful people tend to share certain psychological traits, and they align pretty neatly with Nietzsche's strong morality mindset. First up, ambition. This isn't just wanting a better life, it's a burning hunger that won't quit. Ambitious folks set huge goals that scare them, then wake up every morning itching to tackle obstacles. They don't settle for okay, they chase amazing, and that drive pushes them through long nights, tough setbacks, and doubts. Next is decisiveness. The world moves fast, and if you freeze up, you miss the boat. Decisive people don't overthink forever. They gather just enough info, make a call, and move on. Sure, sometimes they adjust course later, but they don't sit paralyzed by what-ifs. That confidence to choose quickly and own the outcome gives them a major edge. Then there's strategic ruthlessness. Don't panic. This doesn't mean abandoning all ethics. It means recognizing when a kind word or patient approach is just a waste of time, and when you need to be tough to protect your goals. Strategic ruthlessness is about sizing up risks, spotting hidden threats, and taking calculated actions others won't. It's using both carrot and stick in the smartest mix possible, pulling it all together. Nietzsche's philosophy and these psychological traits reveal a big truth. Real success often comes from crafting your own path, embracing challenges head-on, and being willing to make hard choices. By adopting a master morality mindset, you free yourself from limits imposed by fear or convention, and by sharpening ambition, decisiveness, and strategic ruthlessness, you build a toolkit that helps you not only reach your goals, but redefine what success means on your own terms. Simple explanation with relatable example. Let's be real. Some people climb so high in life it's hard to believe. How do they do it? The answer is a special combo: ruthless ambition, ironclad decision-making, and a dash of strategic coldness. These three work like a race car's engine. But be careful, if you don't control that engine, it might burst into flames and burn everything to ashes. Let's look at some historical examples to see how these traits can shoot someone to the top or crash them to the ground. Julius Caesar, the hero who dug his own grave. Everyone knows Caesar, the Roman general whose endless ambition drove him to conquer half the world. He kept charging forward even when people yelled, "Stop." In the end, senators scared of his unlimited power stabbed him to death in the Roman Senate. The lesson: ambition is like fire. It lights your path, but it can also burn you alive. If Caesar had been a little more humble, he might have survived. But it was that same recklessness that made his name immortal. Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor, who outgrew himself. Napoleon rose from a simple soldier to emperor of France. His military genius was unmatched, but his greed had no limits. Remember when he invaded Russia? He thought even Siberia's snow and cold would bow to him. The result? His army froze and collapsed. Here, decisiveness turned into blind stubbornness. Napoleon showed that even geniuses crash if they don't know their limits. So what should we do? These stories aren't about saying, "Don't be ambitious." It's the opposite. Big success needs boldness and iron will. But we've got to make sure our ambition doesn't outrun our common sense. Think of it like driving on a mountain road. Go too slow, you'll fall behind. Go too fast, you'll crash off a cliff. Final takeaway: the secret to success is balancing ambition with reality. Play smart, not just clever. History teaches us that great people always risked one step more than others, but the smartest ones knew when to stop. So be bold in life, but don't leave your brains in your back pocket. The corporate world's cautionary tales. Why ambition needs a reality check. Let's talk about the corporate world, a place where big dreams collide with harsh realities. You know those stories where companies rise to the top only to crash and burn? Yeah, that's not just bad luck. It's often because they let ambition blind them to the truth. Take Enron and Blockbuster, for example. These giants are like textbook cases of how arrogance and refusing to adapt can turn success into disaster. Enron was that company everyone admired in the 90s. They were all about energy trading, and their stock price was soaring. But behind the scenes, their executives were cooking the books, lying about profits, hiding debts, and creating fake companies to make it look like they were winning. Why? Greed. Pure greed for power and money. They thought they were untouchable. But when the truth came out, it blew up into one of the biggest scandals ever. Thousands lost jobs, life savings vanished, and Enron became a punchline for how not to run a business. Then there's Blockbuster. Remember walking into their stores as a kid to rent DVDs? They were kings of the video rental world. But when Netflix came along, offering DVDs by mail and later streaming, Blockbuster laughed. They didn't think people would ditch the in-store experience. Spoiler, they were wrong. Blockbuster stuck to its old-school model, refused to buy Netflix. Yes, that was actually on the table. And by 2010, they were bankrupt. Meanwhile, Netflix is now worth billions. The lesson: if you don't adapt, you die. These stories scream one thing: ambition is like fire. It can keep you warm or burn everything down. Sure, being driven is how you get ahead, but when you ignore red flags like ethics or market changes, you're setting yourself up for a meltdown. Power isn't just about crushing people, it's about balance. Let's get real about power. We've all seen those movies where the villain says, "I'll do whatever it takes to win." But here's the twist: in real life, the best leaders aren't villains. They're ruthless and self-aware. They know that true power isn't just about dominating others, it's about understanding the game and playing it smart. Think of it like this. If you're a CEO, you can't just cut corners, bully employees, and expect loyalty. People will quit, your reputation tanks, and suddenly, you're the bad guy on the news. But if you balance ambition with ethics like paying fair wages, owning up to mistakes, and listening to your team, you build respect, and respect lasts longer than fear. Take Patagonia, the outdoor clothing brand. Their founder, Yvon Chouinard, prioritized environmental ethics over profit. He donated millions to climate causes and even told customers not to buy his jackets unless they really needed them. Sounds crazy, right? But guess what? People trust Patagonia. Their loyalty isn't just about products, it's about values. That's power with purpose. Power with purpose. Stop being nice and start being smart. There's a hard truth. The world doesn't reward nice. If you think being a pushover or avoiding tough decisions will get you ahead, think again. Naive morality, like believing good deeds always pay off, is a fantasy. Real strength means making hard choices, even if they're unpopular. But wait, this doesn't mean becoming a heartless robot. It's about strategy. Let's say you're a manager and have to lay off employees to save the company. A naive approach would be, I can't fire anyone, it's too cruel. A strategic approach, cutting costs while offering severance packages, job references, or retraining programs. You're still making a tough call, but you're doing it with humanity. Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, now X, is a messy example. He slashed jobs aggressively, which kept the company afloat but burned bridges. Contrast that with Microsoft's Satya Nadella, who transformed the company by focusing on empathy and collaboration. Both leaders made hard decisions, but one prioritized balance, and it shows in their long-term success. Adapt or get left behind. Change is the only constant. Kodak invented the digital camera but clung to film. They're irrelevant now. Nokia dominated mobile phones but ignored smartphones. They collapsed. Meanwhile, Apple shifted from computers to iPods to iPhones, constantly evolving. Adapting isn't just about tech, it's about mindset. Maybe you've been doing things the same way for years. Ask yourself, is this still working? If you're a freelancer, are you learning new skills? If you're a business, are you listening to customer feedback? Stubbornness kills progress. Final takeaway, be ambitious, but stay awake. Ambition is your fuel, but self-awareness is your steering wheel. You can't just floor the gas, you've got to watch the road. Learn from Enron's greed and Blockbuster's stubbornness. Balance your drive with ethics. Make tough calls wisely and never stop adapting. So, what's your move? Are you clinging to old habits, or are you ready to evolve? Share your thoughts below, and if this hit home, subscribe for more real talk about success, power, and not crashing your own empire.